Okay, y'all. So Juneteenth is coming up. What do you guys know about Juneteenth? Matter of fact, which one of y'all has actually celebrated Juneteenth?
I've never celebrated it.
I've celebrated it.
I feel so
Oh,
bad. I didn't know about this till the last few years that it was even a thing.
Why does that not surprise me, Pat?
Cause
I'm,
like Teddy said earlier, Fourth of July just took over, and like I feel like black people were just we didn't really feel it. We were just flipping burgers suspiciously.
but you still eating the burgers, talking
But
shit.
you know what I'm saying? But barbecues. So when
I
I
feel
heard about June 19th, I was very surprised.
like I didn't learn about it until like maybe like 2006, 2008, realistically.
Yeah.
And it was really because of some conversations I had with some classmates in college. Because they don't teach it in high school. It's not
Nope.
really any of the history books. It's not part of America's history because it doesn't
Not even national holiday. Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
doesn't celebrate the majority of the population of America, and America has a ridiculous history of not highlighting their downfalls, and obviously slavery is one of the biggest blemishes of American history. So they're not going to acknowledge it in all of its splendor, and definitely not going to highlight when they did it, because even though it was abolished, Emancipation Proclamation, like people weren't free to like 2.5 years later. So
Right.
It wasn't even
200
being enforced.
250,000 enslaved people.
A quarter of a million. Can you imagine being one of those people that found out like your people in the other state over have been free for 2.5 years? They've been setting
Yeah.
up their communities, building, and you still over here at the plantation.
I
feel like that's why black people still mad at each other to this day. We just
Like,
got that
you
little
didn't come
internal
tell us.
chip on our. You look like you was freer first. I don't know if I
or it might be why some people be late. They were like, "Hey man, you 5 minutes late." It was like, well, America was 2.5 years late freeing my people in Texas. So
Look, ancestral trauma is a real thing. It's a
Yeah.
real thing.
Well, what's
absolutely.
crazy about it is like seeing how horrible our policing is right now. You could totally see that, like, once, obviously in the history books, it was like the war ended, slaves are free. You know what I mean? So for us, we were just like, okay, for sure. But it's not that far-fetched to think that like they weren't policing that in certain areas, and then
absolutely.
certain people just
They-
still had slaves.
Wasn't nobody sending no mass email like, "Hey, y'all could go home." Nobody
Yeah.
did that.
Why do you
Right.
think it took them so long to let their enslaved people go?
Because white people didn't want to work for themselves. Let's keep it real. Here's the thing:
Free labor.
if you have the rights to owning another human who is going to do all the work for you, and you don't have to pay them, these are people who were in the mindset of like, yeah, man, this is my property. They didn't even look at blacks as human. They looked at them as property. This is my property. I'm not going to just give up my property. I don't care what the law says. That's why
And-
the South tried to rebel.
And I don't think sunscreen got invented to the 40s. So, like, how is
Hell. Can you
I don't know
imagine
if that's
being in
true or
that heat?
not, but I feel like
The more I learn about it every year as an adult, the more I'm like, I should celebrate this.
Yes.
Like, this should
Absolutely.
be the celebration. This is when you invite the people over. This is when you have the barbecue. This is when you like
Yeah.
shoot fireworks.
But people
right?
used to do that.
imagine what those early celebrations were like. The people like they were, I mean, had been living their lives as enslaved people their entire life. And, a year later, they're able to get together in a park, which a lot of them couldn't even go to like a public place and celebrate.
Ever.
So
Yeah.
in Houston, they bought 10 acres. They bought a park. It's there today, Emancipation Park in Houston today. Bought so they could get together and be amongst each other and be free.
Drunk.
Turn up.
Oh,
Can you-
turned up.
Can you
Oh, that was
imagine?
probably like the first Freaknik.
Oh, God. Oh, it was probably so lit. Oh my God, fresh freedom.
Yo, can you imagine
Yeah.
on another level, like being a slave for 10, 15 years, getting freed, going to this park, and then finding your family members that you haven't seen in 20 years.
Oh, dang, deep.
You know what I'm saying? Like cousins, aunts, moms, being reconnected with your siblings. Can you imagine going through slavery, getting lashes, working 15, 20-hour days, whatever, you know, like, and then being like that feeling of joy. I don't know if I've ever felt anything like that.
No.
Like, I can imagine.
What are you talking about? Fresh out of being slave? You know, you couldn't have.
Slave, yeah, we don't know. We don't know anything about that. And we don't have any idea about that. We can only read it in history books, which is why I think
we actually can't read it in history books, Meg. That's part of the
The history books come from Texas too.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about the ones you get from school. I'm talking about the ones you have to go to the library to read. The ones that you have to like search on the internet.
Find an old black woman on the street with a cloak on to find that history.
Yeah.
But yeah, this should be a national holiday. I feel
How
like
is it not? You read my mind. How is it not a holiday?
Because it's for the 14%. It's for black people. They don't care. I don't know how many percentage is Irish, but everybody in the country wear green on St. Patrick's Day.
Right.
I don't know.
True. Wait, so what is everybody supposed to wear on Juneteenth?
FUBU.
What would be so dope if, you know, there was like a huge Juneteenth convention, the way that they do Essence, and it was 2 full days or 3 full days of just black excellence. You got all the black brands there. You got black caterers. You got black business owners, black capital investors, all of that, and just situated on a piece of land that we own and that we can capitalize on, and we can continue to grow this. We had everything stripped from us, so we have to take it upon ourselves to learn this stuff, and they've done such a great job of hiding it from us, we don't know it. So it takes conversations like this and going to HBCUs and being exposed to this, because we're not taught it growing up. We're not taught it in school. And if you don't go to college, that's another chance you miss out on being exposed to this type of conversation. So I'll be glad that, you know, this year I feel like a lot more people will be aware of it going forth. And I think that's exactly what we need to do.
You know what? We got to bring the theatrics. All right. Like the way that July 4th has the barbecues and the celebration and the fireworks. A lot of people just do that part, and they don't even take a minute to like talk, you know, do the whole American thing. Like a lot of people just do that. So I feel
Patrick, I've celebrated 4th of July for the past 29 years. We've never talked about America on
not one time.
We never was like, man, you know what America been through? Never, not once.
No.
It's like, yeah, it's kind of like just the other stuff. So I think if we really want to push it as a holiday that people get into and celebrate it, we can't push it as something where it's like, all right, black people sit down and read and think about you know what I mean? Like it has to get attention in other ways. Like we need to push fireworks on June 19th. You know what I mean?
And it got to be headlined. Like the festival got to be headlined by Meg Thee Stallion, somebody Roddy Ricch. It got to be lit.
Yeah.
It got to be lit.
All right, but then don't y'all get mad when some of our friends decide to show up in dashikis to celebrate us. And
hey, Karens are gonna happen. Imagine what the original celebrations, those Karens with powdered wigs, it was probably way worse back then. The original celebrations probably had the worst resistance. So I feel like
they probably didn't even show up, because if they would, I would have thought slavery was coming back. Let a Karen show up to the first Juneteenth. I would have been like, oh, see, I knew it was too good to be true.
Things are happening now that we know, like, and we see the power of our history. And the crazy thing about it is, when you look at it, it's not hard to see how we got to where we are today with all of this madness in the streets,
Absolutely.
bloodshed, the terror that we feel, the anxiety. It makes a lot of sense, because this is the American story. This is our experience. We're literally reliving what our ancestors have fought for. We're standing in our liberation now, but still, all of these years later, emancipated and all, we still are bound by society's perception.
Until y'all recognize Juneteenth as a national holiday, we're going to just take over every national holiday that it doesn't really embody what it really should be. Memorial Day,
Patriots Day,
Thanksgiving,
President's Day.
All of that, bro. All of that. Yo, America has a history of like burying their dirty secrets. Like even Mount Rushmore. That was, bro, that belonged to indigenous people. Their land.
That's sacred land, yeah.
That was their land, and they knew what they was doing, bro. And they didn't get no. So it's like, all right, cool. We'll play by your rules. We don't get no. Every holiday is
all these
Juneteenth.
slave owners on there.
Yep. If we started celebrating every holiday as Juneteenth, every holiday. I'm talking about Christmas too. Hey, happy Juneteenth, miss. Every holiday as Juneteenth. I guarantee they're gonna give us Juneteenth as a national holiday because they don't want us treading on this. They're not gonna want us to.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. I wonder how quickly.
A paid holiday.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And
Hey,
right
did
now,
y'all hear about Nike?
yeah, they're actually one of the companies that has decided to make it a paid holiday for the company for all of them.
They're the first company I've ever heard do that ever in my life.
Nike has been on the forefront of everything that has affected the black community.
They better be. A lot of the athletes they endorse.
Well, again, even if it was on a financial tip, the fact that they're the leader when it comes to speaking out on civil rights, on gay rights, on equality, they're always one of the first companies to jump out there, not only with a statement, but also with advertisement. Like when the whole Colin Kaepernick thing was happening, they were like one of the first companies that was like, nah, man, we standing with Cap. They gave him a shoe, all of that, bro. So for a lot of these companies, when you come to the party late, they're like, oh yeah, we're in solidarity too. Black Lives Matter. But it's like, we've been protesting for 3 weeks and now you decide that, now you make the decision. And
it's just a tweet. It's nothing else. They might send a couple thousand to some charity. Yeah. But it's just a tweet and they want to keep pushing. They don't care.
And you know what? I don't never see these receipts. I need to see some transactions. I need to see your bank history that you actually donated this money because everybody's talking about they donating this money and all. Where the shit at, bro?
Right. I need to see the CEOs and the C-suite change at your company because while you sending this tweet about Black solidarity, you have 0 people of color in your leadership. So that's a problem.
That's why we can't let up. Because if we stop now in a couple months, minus Corona, everything is going to be just like like none of this never happened. If we stop now, there are people whose lives have not felt this, have felt the energy of what we're moving out. So we're going to keep on shaking till your house shakes too, to you asking questions, all right, like what's going on? What do we have to do to fix this? Because something is wrong. And people realize and accept that something is wrong and take the responsibility on ourselves as humans. Yeah. Forget Americans, forget all of that stuff. This is about humankind. People treat animals better. And so we're not standing for it.
Juneteenth, y'all.
Yes, Juneteenth.
I got my FUBU fit ready, bro. Fat Albert shirt on deck. Platinum FUBU on deck.
Yeah, I'm only wearing black. I'm hella blacking it out. I'm only wearing black designers from the shirt and the jeans. I don't have any black designer shoes yet. When I find something.
Well, anyway, happy Juneteenth, y'all. We'll see you later.
Happy Juneteenth.
Happy Juneteenth,
y'all.